All right, I'm going to record the class, but you guys are not in the video, so you know. All right, so coming into a supine position, having a couple blocks available, letting your body rest on the earth, welcoming in the morning body. So as you step onto your mat, you're just kind of letting rest here what is and what you've brought in today, and take a nice breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, just releasing any tension you can. And as you feel the earth support you and let the muscles just kind of fall away from the bones, and just kind of let your mind travel. I'll guide you through the body and just kind of recognize, where are the glands. We won't touch into all of the endocrine system, but just parts. So maybe just for a moment, as your head rests back, and notice the straight back from the bridge of the nose to the center of the brain, and where the pituitary gland is, and the pineal gland. And take a breath, just letting the mind rest back. And traveling down and coming down to the area of the neck, the throat, and back towards the spine where the thyroid is. And taking a breath, imagining that butterfly-shaped organ, or just resting through the area between your jaw and your collarbones. And coming down to the center of the chest, and the sternum, the large bony center of the rib cage, and just behind there in the thymus gland. And all these glands regulate all the hormonal processes throughout our body, the tiny chemical messengers that regulate. And coming down around to the lower back ribs, the floating ribs. And feeling the back body, and just inside there where the kidneys are. And above the kidneys, the adrenal glands. With this feeling right in front of those floating back ribs, the lowest back ribs, where the adrenals are. And taking a breath, see if you're holding any tension in any of these areas, and slowly drop down a little lower, coming into the ovaries or testes, either one. Letting the lower part of our pelvis be soft and relaxed. All these regulatory systems, and noticing any tension here, and taking a breath. And letting the whole system of our internal space, always an option to bring your attention inward, right? You can always take it back out, As you exhale, maybe take a big stretch, inhaling, lengthening the arms overhead, stretching the whole body out. Maybe pedal the heels a few times, lengthening each side of the body. So from armpit down to the hip bone, we get that nice length on the side body. Alternating sides as you reach. And with an exhale, floating the arms down by your sides, bending the knees, softening for a moment, beginning to listen to the breath. Kind of notice how you're breathing this morning, the soft inhalation through the nose and out through the nose. Slowing down and moving into more subtle awareness as you take a few breaths. Beginning to move into some more deeper core breathing, as we feel maybe the hands on the belly, if you like, just to kind of palpate where this respiration, this deeper respiration goes. So you might find the inhalation expanding around the lower ribs. Longer, slower, lighter, hugging around the lower ribs as you exhale. As we move into the core a little more deeply to really enhance the breath, you might move into some pelvic tilting. So on the in-breath, taking the arch into the lower back. And as you exhale, slowly tucking the pubic bone towards the navel. Right? So we're already starting to bring our concentration of attention into the lower pelvis, where the lower endocrine system is. Breathing in, arching the back. Breathing out, pressing the back to the floor, tucking pubic bone towards the navel. Good, you can move at your own pace with that, your own breath. Feel the rocking movement. We might try this a few times with a stair step exhale. So on the in breath, we're arching the back. Exhale, halfway exhale, tucking the pubic bone towards the navel. Pause. Exhale further all the way out, pressing the solar plexus back towards the floor. Breathing in, unzipping the whole thing. So arching the back, lifting, and exhaling halfway, pubic bone towards the navel, the rest of the half, navel towards lower ribs, presses down into the floor. So we're really starting to feel this concentration here. And again, if the breath practices are not available to you today, or you need to return to your natural breath at any time, always feel free to do that. And let's just do that together right now. And just pause, breathe naturally. Good. We're going to take an inhale, sliding the right leg out, arms overhead. Again, you might arch the back a little bit. Now, as you exhale, we're going to bring that right knee into the chest, curl up into a little ball, right? Hug that knee and press. So the concentration on the right side groin area, right? Kind of shunting the prana into that area. And then we'll inhale, slide back out, reach arms overhead. And as you exhale, same thing, right? Really concentration into the lower pelvis. Breathing in, and breathing out. If there's any strain on the neck at all, if you need to, you can always hold the back of the head. Pressing the back into the floor as we do those little somatic awareness or crunch into, or abdominal crunch, I guess. Good. Let's place that foot down for a moment and rest. Let's kind of feel the difference, right? Feel where it's gotten warm or centered the energy. Where do you feel the aliveness happening in the body? Good. Sliding the left leg out, arms overhead. When you're ready, arching the back a little bit, feeling the spine lift. And then pressing the spine down, hugging the knee, or bringing the knee towards the chest, curling into your tight little ball. So we're squeezing left side groin area. Inhale, reaching out. And at your own pace, right? Following your own breath. For some of you, if you want to add a little pause after the exhale into that tight little ball, you could. And then breathe in. Arching the back, feeling the spine. And maybe one or two more, making it your own. How do you want to move? You want to feel a little more stretch here and arch, lengthening the groin area. Or do you want to compress and kind of feel that attention and that compression there? And then maybe pause. You could bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side, and just kind of rest. Let the pelvic organs soften and relax. Taking several breaths. Good. As you getting closer attention with the endocrine system, might just to see what little subtleties you notice if you like. So we're going to take Apanasana, breathing in, bringing both knees in this time, hands on top of the knees. And as we inhale, kind of push the knees away. And as you exhale, hug the thigh bones in towards the lower ribs, little squeeze. Nice and slow with your breath, with your breathing. Right, so we're working within our range of energy and prana. let's pause, kind of holding the knees in. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to reach for the heels, tuck into a tight little ball, knees towards shoulders, right? Hold for a moment. You could bring the attention deep into the pelvis. And as your knees come towards your shoulders, give a little squeeze. And when you're ready, releasing, stretching out, nice 5-pointed star. Pause and hold, take a breath. My voice is a little froggy today. Good, inhale. As you exhale, bring the feet to the floor, arms to a T. We're going to cycle that right leg in and up, lowering on the exhale breath. Just a few times, just kind of feeling, right, that awakening on the right side or the right hamstring. Breathing in and stretching that leg up, reaching behind. So here on the inhale, holding. As you exhale, what kind of stretch can you get? Maybe you can lift chest, shoulders, head, drawing that leg in closer. You might slide that left leg out, optional to a hover. And take a few breaths here. Again, choosing your option to just kind of feel that concentration low in the belly. Pressing the sacrum into the floor, navel to spine, spine to floor. Releasing as you exhale, slide that leg to the floor, pause, and take a breath. Good. You can notice any parts that are kind of hanging on as it takes a little bit to rest. Like you got to check in and see, oh, I was like squeezing my pelvic floor. So maybe try the other side. So we'll kind of cycle that left leg in and up, lower as you exhale out. And finding that attention to breath and movement today. So as you explore that concentration in the belly, you could stretch the leg up. Maybe it's bent. You decide you could reach behind the thigh or the calf. Maybe draw that leg in closer, squeezing the lower abdomen. Maybe lift chest, shoulders, head. That's an option, really, to bring more concentration and energy down into the lower pelvis. And hold. And as you release, this time we'll stretch the leg all the way out. Arms out to the side, resting both sides of the ilium, the pelvic girdle, and releasing through the pelvic floor. And taking a breath. As you slide and maybe bring your attention into the back floating ribs where the adrenals are, we'll hug the legs into the chest until you kind of find those back ribs and just kind of roll side to side. You could kind of roll over those lower ribs, just kind of finding a rocking of the kidneys and the adrenals. rolling over the top. And you could stay with this rolling action here or any other rolling action. And some of you might want to reach behind your knees and just kind of give a little rock up, forward, and back. If that seems available to you today, you're going to tuck into a ball and roll over your back ribs, kind of bouncing and vibrating our internal organs. Then as we come to stillness, we'll pause, right? Rest the feet down. What remains in the back body? What remains by the lower ribs, around the midsection, around the spine? What sensations? Let's take a few breaths there. Can you feel the breath in the back body? Maybe rising away from the floor and pressing into the floor a little bit, just feeling the movement there. All right, and a little movement over into table. So let's come onto our hands and knees and find our nice sturdy table. All right, so again, or actually let's go back into child's pose and just kind of place your hands, find those lower ribs, right? Find where the lower ribs are. Maybe take the fists and kind of gently tap on those lower ribs. Just finding where the adrenals are and giving them a little vibration. Sliding the hands forward. You can stretch out. And maybe we'll take some back bending to kind of bring some energy there. So you might pull forward. You could come into a version of up dog, right? Or cobra, just bringing the pelvis towards the floor. Little squeeze into that lower rib area. And then as you exhale, rocking back a little bit, stretching the spine. So we'll move into that a few times. So forward and back, breathing in, right? Moving forward, dropping the pelvis, moving back as you exhale, right? And your hips may not make it all the way back depending on your breathing. So this could be really small. Again, good. Stretching the front body, compressing the back body a little bit, and then stretching and releasing. Good. So flowing cobra is kind of like this. As you're coming forward, breathing in. Breathing out, pushing the floor away. Now you might really widen the back body. We're going to walk our hands in a little bit. Maybe elbows are a little more out to the sides. So we're here, breathing in. As you exhale, we're going to just kind of slide the shoulder blades away from the spine, really rounding back towards child's pose. So you really feel that back body there. Breathing in, pulling forward. And as you exhale, lift those lower floating ribs up towards the ceiling as your hips move back towards your heels. Good. So it's almost, so we're again kind of emphasizing and feeling that midsection of our back. Lengthening on the in-breath. Slowly exhale like a cat as you round back, hips towards heels, but coming back up again. And then resting in child's pose when you're ready. And pause. And you feel the breath in the back body, around the lower ribs, in the groin. And if you can't, that's okay. You're just kind of checking in, just, can I feel my breathing in a more subtle way? Areas that are softening in the body on the in-breath. Relaxing on the out-breath. And we'll bring our hands back again to we'll bring them to the kidney area. And one more. Rising, stretching up onto the knees, breathing in. Little arch of the back. Breathing out. Hips back towards your heels, folding into child's pose. Pressing the feet down into the floor, rising up. Maybe feel a little back bend, hips moving forward. Hips moving back, folding back into your child's pose. So your pace, you could try that movement a few times. Just kind of feel how your back feels with that, waking up the spine, waking up the back body. And when you're ready, you might pause, standing on both knees in Virasana. And we'll take the arms forward. Breathing in, twisting left. We'll squeeze into the lower back ribs on the left. Inhale forward. Exhale to the other side. You could play with different arm movements if you want to have the arms a little lower. You could. If you start to feel tension in the shoulders or the neck, just bring the arms down a little bit, or even turning without the arms at all. Could be here. Little squeeze, just bringing the elbow back. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And resting in whatever position feels right, on all fours or in child's pose. Pausing and taking several breaths. Good. We're going to come back up into our table and kind of think about the lower left side where the pancreas is. I didn't mention that earlier, but lower left side, below the ribs, behind the stomach or below the stomach, even that area. We're just going to take our tabletop just a little wider, maybe knees, hands a little wider, and taking cat and cow, but in a way that we shift our weight to one side or the other. So on the breath in, being in table, then as you exhale, shift your weight to the left and kind of round into cat, squeezing the lower left ribs. Inhale back to your table. Then to the other side, just for good measure. Squeezing into the lower right ribs, hugging around the liver there. Inhale back to center. And shifting to the other side, you might pause after the exhale to give a little hug and love to that pancreas. And inhale to center. Good. As you draw the hip bone towards the lower rib and cat pose, shifting the weight. In breath. Good. And just notice, what is your connection to that area of the body? Maybe one side's you feel a little more connection than the other. Good. Maybe one last time, little squeeze, little hug. Exhaling. And coming back to center and pause. And let's walk our hands and knees together, coming to a standing forward bend. And just hang. Let it all hang. Soft knees, supporting the back if you need to, with hands on knees. Just kind of roll your head around, releasing any accumulated tension in the neck or the shoulders. And we're going to slowly roll up through the spine and press down into your feet. Good. Attuning to each vertebrae as you roll up through the spine. And bringing the arms overhead, take a nice stretch overhead, clasping your hands, pressing the palms up towards the sky. Tadasana. Good. Inhaling. And as you exhale, float, or just let the palms drop down, just kind of touch the crown of the head. Feeling that highest point of our body, the crown. Breathing in, pressing palms up. You might lift the heels. Exhale. Lowering down, touching crown. Good. Having that nice flow of energy from base of the spine to the crown. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then floating those arms down and around to Tadasana, mountain pose. And taking a few breaths. See how you feel. And we're squeezing into different parts of the body. And when we check in, just want to notice, did that cause any after effects in the body? What remains? Feeling lighter or heavier? Sometimes nausea when we get into different parts. Good. Taking our legs, stepping them wide, coming into wide leg forward bend. So we hinge forward from the hips. We're going to come into wide-legged forward bend. We might have a block here because we're going to use do it with a twist. So let's think a little bit about our heart space. Give a little rub there where the thymus gland is. And take a breath. Maybe stretch the arms out, feet wide, but sturdy and stable in all your joints, right? The place where you feel supported. As you exhale, taking your fingertips down to the block. We're going to kind of stretch that right arm on the in-breath, turning the heart space, the sternum, kind of bring the hand across, reach the arm up, breathing in. As you exhale, reach the arm forward and bring the arm back down. Inhale, dragging the hand across the chest, reaching the left arm up. Exhale, reaching forward and lowering down. So if that's feeling okay in your shoulders and everything, you can continue with that. If you need to modify, make the arm movement smaller, maybe even no arm movement, right? Maybe you're just turning the chest towards the sky, right? Just feeling that spaciousness on one side. Or maybe one more time on each side. Good. Walking your hands back to your knees, coming all the way back up, and pause. Good. Where do you feel more of the flow of energy? You feel it in the heart space? On the center of the thymus gland is here. You grab a strap if you have one, or just link your fingers together behind your back for wide-legged forward bend, but with chest expansion. So we're gonna just roll the shoulders back and down. Hold the strap, your hands as close together as you can, keeping the arms straight. Breathing in, stepping wide again. As you exhale, lifting arms away from the back, folding over, bending knees, bringing the heart space towards the center of the legs, lifting the arms, dropping the chin. Good. Taking several breaths. As you bring the arms back to your back, you can release the strap, walk the hands to knees, come all the way back up. Good. Stepping into Tadasana, mountain. Checking in. And we're going to take our downward facing dog pose. Optional at with a chair or on the floor in your regular downward facing dog, but with the emphasis on Jaladhara Bandha. So our thyroid, like a butterfly, we link our thumbs and just hold this mudra for a moment. It's right in front of the throat. Just kind of imagine where that thyroid gland is. And then releasing and bringing hands to the chair or floor. Stepping back into your downward facing dog. I'm going to breathe in. As you exhale, taking the chin towards the sternum and then gently drawing the chin back into Jaladhara Bandha, so the throat lock. And you might pause here, taking several breaths. Releasing for a moment, you could come forward, breathing in. You might be coming to plank if your hands are on the floor. And then on your exhale breath, sending the hips back up towards the sky or back over the heels, dropping the chin, hugging the chin back towards the throat pit, and taking several breaths. So just feeling where our thyroid gland is, kind of breathing, feeling that concentration of energy there. Placing the tongue at the roof of the mouth, Jiva Mudra. Breathing in, coming forward. One more time, exhale back into your downward facing dog. Chin towards the throat pit. Tongue at the roof of the mouth. Taking a few breaths. And we'll walk the hands to the knees, coming all the way back up. Let's take a stretch overhead, breathing in. And breathing out, hands to heart. And coming down onto the mat here. Good. So a few poses for deepening that connection to the thyroid, and then we'll move up into the hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal gland area after that. So let's have our block and coming onto the back. So a couple options here. You might bring the block right under the pelvis, like coming into our supported bridge. And first option, maybe giving some space behind the neck. Make sure you have some space there and the head rested. Pressing the upper arm bones back and raising the sternum towards the chin. So keeping some space behind your neck, but just raising the sternum towards the chin. Good. You can even bend at the elbows and kind of press the upper arm bones back. Looks like a mini fish pose. You could also lift the hips if you like. So giving a little more concentration. And a little squeeze and a breath. Releasing. Letting the pelvis rest, arms could come down. And take a breath or two, just kind of feel what you feel. Thyroid is so important for so many metabolic processes in the body, and it can get sluggish, right? So we could do that again, or a second option, moving into candlestick. And this one, just noticing, the reversal of blood flow back towards heart and head. A little more energy down there. Some of you might even be able to rock your hips into your hands for supported or for half shoulder stand. So if you want to, take your hips into your hands, lift your hips up, optional, right? Do what works for you today. All of it is good. All of it works. So again, we have this space behind the neck, no matter where you are. And noticing, where do you feel that concentration of energy in the body or sensation? If you like, bring your attention to the thyroid and take several breaths. And wherever you are, lowering your hips and back to the block. We might just do this variation of plow pose, just letting the legs come up towards the head or ears. You could bend the knees. You might just have this soft variation of plow. Just kind of hold that for a few breaths. Lowering the feet back down. Removing the block. Pause for a moment. Feel where the breath goes. What remains? I kind of feel that release through the neck and the throat myself. We can even enhance that more, maybe coming into fish pose as we bring the backs of the arms to the floor, kind of rise through the chest. And for some of you, if you can, lift the head up and back, coming onto the back of the head a little more, right? Really pressing the heart space towards the sky. Backs of the arms pressed down, or the elbows pressed down, kind of able to pop the chest high. This one's a little more challenging. So maybe you're just here and a little lower, right? Just popping the chest up a little bit. And then relaxing back down and pause. See how you feel, noticing the flow in your body. Good, we're gonna turn over. So our last connection here to the glands located in the midbrain. So inversions are very good for that. And I thought we would go to a wide, taking our blocks or bolster or pillow, and maybe we can do wide-legged forward bend, touching the crown of our head onto the block. So we have that connection to our head and midbrain. So we're going to come up step wide legs. Again, where you're comfortable. You might need 2 blocks. You might even stack 1 block higher up, depending on how flexible your hamstrings are. But we're going to rest the crown of the head on the blocks if you get there. So it can take a little adjusting, a little finding of where you need to be. Maybe stacking a couple pillows just to feel that um, the height for the top of the head. And maybe the top of the head doesn't get there. That's okay. You can rest the forehead on the block or pillows. Pause and see if you can find a place where the spine is rested. And you can kind of bring your attention to the midbrain. Right, just letting that reversal of flow in the body come towards heart and head. Good. And maybe walking your hands forward and stepping in. We'll come back down onto the back, fully supine and rest. See how you feel there. Whole body Savasana. And see how you feel. I'm going to take a little kind of supine meditation to connect to those endocrine glands in the brain. So finding your 10 fingers while you're laying here supine. And we're going to take a little kriya by touching the thumb to each fingertip. And the mantra is sa ta na ma. So we're going to touch thumb to first finger, second finger, third finger, little finger, going sa ta na ma. Sa ta na ma. So you can be doing this with both hands. Na ma. Sa ta na ma. So continuing with that practice, which actually is on the Alzheimer's Foundation website for Alzheimer's prevention. So we can continue just with that to work with strengthening memory. You can also add a visual of, with the satanama, this adds a little more, so you can think about this if you like. So visualize a place straight out from the bridge of the nose, sa, and then ta, the bridge of the nose, midbrain, na, and then crown of the head, ma. And then above the head, sa, crown of the head, ta, midbrain, na, bridge of the nose, ma. So I know that's a lot. You could stick with just the fingers and the sa, ta, na, ma. Or if you want to add that L-shaped visualization to the midbrain, crown of the head, up above the head. So sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. The visualization, the hands, and the mantra, if you can, all at the same time. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. So we bring our attention through that process from outer to midbrain to crown to sky and back down again. Energetically bringing attention to the pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus. There was a lot to that meditation, so can continue. The recommended time is like 12 minutes of satanama for memory, for supporting memory, our memory. But whenever you feel ready and want to just rest, just let your hands rest, your body rest, and the whole body rest in Savasana. Going back to your natural breath and letting go of all effort. I kind of feel like that was a lot today with the meditation. So maybe the end with Shavasana today. Just kind of let the system, the energies move through you. Maybe notice how you're feeling as the body rests. I think it's the most important time because there's a reorganization in the body happening. There's kind of a new flow happening through your body. Maybe you can feel that now in Shavasana.